Hello everybody, welcome back to MC Panda to another episode of Among the Blocks Development Diaries. It is episode 11 and today we built Cockpit, including all the tasks in it and the sabotage in it. I really hope you enjoy the video, let's get right into it. So here we are in the world, where in our last episode we built Reactor. And you can see some of the redstone down there because we've made 2 changes since last time. So as you can see, there's been a couple of changes. The first one is that the reactor works properly now. So I don't have anyone with me, but I can throw an item. So if we flick this, fix reactor sabotage comes up, and then someone needs to be stood on both of these pressure plates for it to fix the sabotage. So I've simulated it with some items there, but that has now fixed it. So very special thank you to Ishan for coming in and doing the redstone. This is surprisingly simple, but it works, which is good. And then I also took a suggestion from the comments. So before building this, I had never actually seen a nuclear reactor. So I built this and none of the water or the smoke was here. It was just this in our last episode. So it was Dab3_118 suggested to add water here to create bubbles, and Flamingo16 suggested to add campfires underneath for the smoke effect. So very special thank you to both of you for commenting this. I think it looks much better now. And yeah, this looks like a proper reactor. So in today's episode, we're going to be building Cockpit here, and it's going to have another sabotage in it. Similar to these two, but I'll copy and paste it over and have it reset an amount of tasks depending on... I'll have it reset an amount of tasks depending on how long you leave it before it is fixed, if that makes sense. So it's essentially task sabotage. The longer you take to fix it, the more tasks will get removed. And you'll have to go and redo them. The logic behind this is that the imposter diverts the ship, so it takes longer to get to its destination, therefore more tasks. It's going to be a design where on the back wall and the sides, it's going to be these netherite blocks and grey concrete. However, at the front, it's going to take a slightly different design. There's going to be a huge window so that whoever's driving the ship can do that. And that's going to be where the sabotage is. And there'll be a couple of tasks in here as well. So for this front wall, we're going to essentially have a huge window. Don't worry, I will also at some point cover these up with black concrete. It's just that I need to use structure blocks to copy and paste them over first. And then we're actually going to have the roof curve in a bit here, because if you see cockpits on actual spaceships, well, not actual spaceships, like Star Wars spaceships, then they have this thing where it curves. The roof curves inwards where the window is. So the actual ceiling, I believe, is going to be at this level. And it's going to be light grey concrete. However, the cockpit roof near the window is going to have just have the grey sloping up to meet this light grey concrete. We are going to add some lights to this as well. And then we're just going to make the light grey concrete come a bit further along. And then it looks more gradual rather than just a sudden stop. So I don't actually like the look of the transition from grey to light grey. So I'm going to just change it to be all light grey. Then for the floor, I'm actually going to have a section with glass in the middle, so that you can look down. And I'm thinking about even putting this glass in a little pit in the ground. So stone stairs are the closest colour and texture we have to light grey concrete. If concrete stairs are in the game, this will be much easier, but for now we're just going to have to make do with what we've got. I am going to use stone for this lining though, just so it looks the same. And then the rest of the floor we're going to fill in with lodestones. So I made this glass section a bit smaller, but then otherwise the framework of this room is done. And we're going to do the tasks before we do the sabotage. So I'm going to pull up my task list. So there are going to be 3 tasks in here. 2 of them are going to be steer the ship and chart course. So we're going to do these by building a panel at the front of the ship, which is essentially where all the controls are going to be. And I might even continue this all the way around these sides as well. So for steer ship, it's going to be another rotating an item frame task. So what we're going to do is use a compass to show which direction to point. However, this points towards the spawn, which isn't ideal, simply because we wanted to rotate it so it can go that way. So I'm going to use a lodestone for their actual purpose, and I'm going to put one outside which the ship can point to, and then they need to rotate the lever so it matches the compass. So just down on the floor here, I'm going to put a lodestone, and I'm going to use a compass on it to essentially create a lodestone compass, which will always point to this lodestone. So I'm going to cover this up in black concrete, just so you can't see it. But now the compass will always point to the lodestone, so this is essentially going to act as a dial to show them how to rotate the item frame to steer the ship. Then we're going to use an end rod, and you're going to have to rotate it to this orientation here. And that is the steer ship task. And next is the chart course task. On this wall here, we're going to have some item frames. And these are all going to be filled with completely black maps. So this is actually going to be quite a cool building trick. So we're going to add a shulker box to put these in, but we're going to create a map that is entirely black to represent space. And then we're also going to create some route maps and some destination and start maps. If I go out to where the black is, you can see we make a map and it's entirely black. So we're going to then lock this using a cartography table, and when you put it in an item frame, it will be entirely, it will fill the item frame entirely, and this is going to be a really nice trick that I can show you that can not only be used for this, but also as wallpaper. So if we name this space, you can see we can cover this entire wall in black. And now we're going to create some different ones. So the easiest way to do this, rather than taking it on the black here, the easiest way to do this is if we go to the end and fill a large amount of blocks in the void. So we're going to build an end portal here and go to the end so we can fill the void with blocks. Okay, so I just used this command to get rid of the dragon. However, because paintings and armor stands entities, and that command removes all the entities, I didn't realize that it worked in the overworld as well. So that means not only did it get rid of the dragon, it also got rid of every painting and armor stand in the map, which isn't too big of a deal. Luckily, item frames aren't entities, so we didn't lose the item frames. That's what I was really worried about. It just means that off camera, I'm going to have to go through and replace all paintings on the ship. But for now, what we're going to do is fly out far enough into the void to create a full map of it. This still has some of the island in it, so we're going to go further out. And off camera, I'm going to create the more complicated maps. The ones with actual things that need to be put on them. And what you're going to do is go to roughly the corner, get these coordinates, and then you can fill them with any block you want. Most notably, concrete, which we're going to use here. So once you have the coordinates of both corners of your map, you want to select 2 corners of the map and write down their coordinates. And then you want to use this command /fill, first set of coordinates. And then you want your second set of coordinates. And then in this case, we're going to fill it with red concrete, which the concretes are a bit awkward because you have to do the proper values. I know that red concrete is concrete 14. And this, as you can see, will give us an entire map filled with red concrete. And this is going to be our red map, which with a cartography table we can lock and name it to location. Now all the rest of the maps are going to be, I'm going to do off camera, but essentially what you can also do, because we're going to be using these, is you can add extra blocks to this. It doesn't need to be just the red, you can actually add a layer on top, and you can make drawings on this, which you can be really, really creative with this and make some really cool things as long as you had the patience. So I'm going to do the rest of the ones off camera, and next episode we can show you the really cool effects this gives. But for now we can name this map location and then lock it, so that when I eventually reuse those coordinates for the other maps, this one isn't going to change. To lock it, you just simply use a glass pane in the cartography table. So now we can head back to the overworld and we can start creating this chart course task. So this is going to be the location. And it isn't going to be fully red. When I actually do these, I'm going to spend some time. I'm going to make this a black map and fill a smaller area in the middle with red as your current location. And the final task is the most annoying. It's download data, which I don't like doing it. And I can't remember how to, so I'm going to have to go back to electrical to see how I did it. So it should actually be quite simple because we've got lots of space here. The way we do this task, I think I showed how it works in the electrical video, so check that one out if you haven't already. But we have lots of space here, so I can properly showcase it. It's simply some repeaters that provides a delay before it comes out. These repeaters are just all going to be pulled back to the maximum, and we'll use just some redstone dust for the corners, and then this provides a delay so that you have to wait a bit, and then we're just going to fill this with music discs, and that should be all the tasks finished. So as you can see, our spaceship has a very fast internet speed, which is why you can download it onto this disk so quickly. Okay, so that is all the tasks done in Cockpit. I am just going to add a couple of computers to the sides here, just to add a bit of detail. So I moved the computers to this side of the wall just because they didn't fit with the window here. But now the only thing left to do is the sabotage. So this sabotage is going to be the same circuit used for the O2 reactor sabotage, just with command blocks added at points along the repeaters to remove tasks. So again, I'm just going to cut ahead in the video while I copy and paste this sabotage. So I've had to modify this sabotage slightly, in that due to technical reasons, I wasn't able to have it so different amounts of tasks were cleared at each point. So in a way, I've made it more OP, as it just clears all your tasks unless you've submitted finished tasks to control. And that is essentially the sabotage completed. I just need to add the coordinates to the command blocks up there. So the cockpit sabotage should be fully working now. I've spent the last half an hour making this, and it's exactly the same design as pretty much all of the other sabotages, the O2 and the reactor. So I believe if you watch the development diaries on O2, I explain how it works. And let me know in the comments if you want me to do a brief explanation next episode though. So if you flick this, it says fix cockpit sabotage 30 seconds. And as you can see it down there. I've used structure blocks to copy and paste it. The repeaters will tick down, you can see them there. They will tick down to the command block, and it was actually misaligned by one block because the range of the structure blocks, I have to do two separate structures. So I need to check if this actually works. And then there we go. It says all tasks cleared, you must redo them unless you have finished them and submitted them to control. And that will essentially reset the game almost, and prevent crewmates from winning. Going to do these maps off camera for chart course, and I'll show you what it looks like next episode. Thank you all for watching today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe to see more content like this, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.